What's up, guys? Today's Tutorial Tuesday, this morning's Tutorial Tuesday, is gonna be about shooting wildlife. And we're going to one of my favorite places. We're at Tingley. This is Tingley. And this is on the Bosque of the Rio Grande. And this is one of my favorite places to go wildlife shooting, especially birds, mostly birds, but also like coyotes. Today we're gonna go over some tips and tricks and best practices for shooting wildlife with long lenses. So let's get to it. I'm gonna use the drift method. Freaking incredible. Round F16 for that to get that sunburst. All right, real quick before we go back to the car, because I want to tell you about lesson number 1, which is probably the most important lesson in wildlife photography. Wear boots. Otherwise this happens. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that was a lot of goat heads. Obviously, the best time to do wildlife photography is going to be early morning and evening, sunrise, sunset, that kind of thing, golden hours. Those are both best for the light, but they're also best for animal activity and actually being able to get them with the cameras. Man, geese are loud. All right, let's talk about settings real quick. So typically what I start out with in wildlife is I start out in shutter priority mode or manual mode. And if I'm in either one, if I'm in shutter priority mode or manual, I'm still gonna usually put it in auto ISO, mostly because like in these kind of conditions where you have trees and splotches of light and shadow and stuff, it makes it a lot easier when you're changing depending on the light to let the camera do the ISO, and these cameras can handle it, so I don't usually have a problem with that. All right, so shutter priority mode is usually your friend, especially for wildlife. Set it to something high and then put your aperture, and then it'll do the aperture, and then you can put your ISO in auto, and then you can just start shooting. All right, so my shutter speed right now, and like I said, it's early morning, it's like only 8:30 or so. I'm at 1250 shutter and wide open on my aperture. So, and my ISO right now is about 400. So with anything fast moving, obviously you're going to want a faster shutter speed, like 1/800th of a second or more. And with birds, especially if they're flying or doing anything like that, you're going to want more than 1,000, more than 1250th, 1500, something like that. So your ISO will probably go up a little bit. So just keep that in mind. If you don't want it to go up, then set your ISO where you want it and slow your shutter speed down. And then if you're trying to capture the action, then you're gonna have to either do panning or just hope that they're not moving too much. All right, so my favorite technique for wildlife is getting as low as possible and getting eye level with whatever you're shooting. And in our case, with the birds in the pond, we want to get as close to here as possible. So I'm actually going to lay down on this stuff and then shoot straight out so I can get eye level with them, so I'm not looking down. That makes it much more natural and much more appealing. All right, so we're down here, we're on eye level with them. The other thing you want to keep in mind, although it's not really always feasible, is shooting with the sun to your back is really nice because it's going to light up the subject really well. But again, in wildlife, that's not always possible. But in situations like this, I can just kind of stake out, and I can just I've got the sun to my back, and the birds are kind of doing circles. They're all just chilling. So I'm just gonna let them do their thing and then just kind of hang out here, and then when they drift into the optimal light situation, that's when I shoot them. All right, let's talk about focus points real quick. I'm gonna move to a different spot, even though I just said don't move too much, because they really are going away. So let's talk about focus points real quick. I usually keep my focus points still on single focus points, and I'll move the single focus point around wherever I need to because that focus is faster, but also because if there's a lot of brush and stuff like that, I don't want it to get confused and focus on something that I don't want. The only time that I put it on any grouping of the focus points is when I'm shooting something really large and really in the open, or if I'm shooting birds in flight, then having the grouping is better because, whoa, watch where you're walking, because when they're in flight and they're moving through the frame, then you'll have a better chance to lock onto them. Most important part of wildlife photography, patience. Patience. That's something I usually don't have, even though I do a lot of wildlife photography. Luckily on the Bosque though, they have these blinds, these things, and they have them all along these ponds and on the Rio and stuff, so it makes it really easy to just kind of hang out and wait, because there is a canvasback, which is a type of duck with a red head, and it just went underwater, but it's over there, I promise, and it's slowly drifting this way, so as long as we keep waiting in the blind and not bothering it, I'm gonna get a better shot of it. All right, last tip. We're stalking a cinnamon teal right now, which is another kind of duck, and I'm just kind of hanging out, and I just remembered if you have a silent shutter mode, or comparatively speaking silent, use it if you're shooting something that can be startled easy, like birds that are real close, or bunnies, or anything that's super timid. So I put it in silent burst mode, and I don't normally shoot completely in burst mode because I'd rather pick than spray and pray and pick the right time. Unless you're doing birds in flight, then I do use burst mode, and you still have to wait because you don't want to fill your buffer out when if the bird's flying to you or whatever. If you use your burst mode, keep that in mind. If you do it too soon, you depending on your camera and your settings, you can run out of your buffer very quickly in just as little as a couple of seconds. So keep that in mind. All right, so the last thing I want to mention is, just go out there to have fun, and don't go out there to expect every shoot to be some lion hunt, in Africa, or some grizzly salmon run in Alaska. Just go shoot what you have, go shoot what's available, and shoot for the fun of trying to capture the wildlife. The local stuff is the best way to get good, so that when you do get to go to those amazing places, that you'll be ready for them. And just, if you find a bunny, then go chase them, because bunnies are really hard to shoot, and that's really good practice. All these little flappy birds and stuff like that, really great practice. I got into bird photography because I figured birds are some of the hardest things to shoot, and if I could shoot them really well, then I would be a really good photographer. And lo and behold, with lots of practice, that ended up being true. So just keep shooting, keep practicing. Go out there and find as much wildlife as you can. You'd be surprised how much wildlife is in your local area and how difficult it is to actually shoot even the common stuff. All right, seriously, I'm wrapping it up because I can't hold this camera anymore and I don't have my tripod. So if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more of it, subscribe to the channel. There's new tutorials every Tuesday and new videos every Friday. If you have any questions about any of the settings or any of the technical stuff that I went over, or anything about shooting wildlife in general, then leave them in the comments below and I'll definitely answer them. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.